Hey everybody, Shaman Hawk here. I'm going to talk a little bit about something that I'm seeing happen more frequently now than I have in a while, and that's the need for tagging. Tagging is when a person can go to a particular place, a ceremonial site, a different area of practice per se, and be able to tag the energy and take that with them. I tell people that the consciousness of information, the consciousness of the shamanic flow, divine architect, all these things combined, is a consciousness that wants to be known and shared. And the thing you can do with it is you can go and pick it up and say, hey, you're kind of looking a little lonely here. I'll take you back with me and introduce you to my people, and we can work together. Some people say, well, it sounds like you're making a deal with a spirit or a demon. They always throw the demon thing in there. And you could look at it in that way. I mean, I see things as consciousness, entities, and spirits for different reasons. But I don't have an exact form for what I'm describing because I've seen so many variables of it. Does it have multiple personality disorder? Maybe, but so do a lot of people in shamanism. In a good way, But what I'm seeing is ceremonial sites that I have worked with that had great success, but then the people just walked away. It's just like people as a general rule really don't want to go for expert level. They really don't want to take things to the highest level possible. There's very few people in humanity that do want to do that with anything, really. And so this energy just kind of sits there. As a good example, last year, Lisa, the shaman from Spain, went down to a place called Villa de Leyva, Colombia, in South America, where I had built a sphere, and it was for the Peace Project. And what we were doing then is, I was commissioned by someone working in our White House, basically translating for President Clinton back then, to go there and build a geomantic structure. They want to know if it's possible I could build a geomantic structure for the Peace Project and help basically a political nobody become president. I said, yeah, I can do that. And so it worked. He won by a landslide. They changed their constitution to re-elect him, Alvaro Uribe, and Colombia completely changed. And so this is in 2002, and I told people, you have to maintain this site. You have to treat it as a sacred site, something special. Well, that didn't happen, and then I just hear that Colombia elected a socialist president, and they're having strife, again. And so it's like, oh well. And I told her about this. I said, you can go there and tag this. Go down there, take that power, and just pull it away from that site and move on with it. And she did. And then the last year has been phenomenal change for her. In her shamanism and her prosperity and just her spirituality in general, as she integrated with the energy of that ceremonial site into that tag. And it takes a little while for the physiology to catch up. And it's been nothing but a great benefit for her. I recently asked Orshi, the shaman from Transylvania, part of Romania, to go to a place and pick up energy that wasn't being utilized there, and that's from a place in Hungary where I had been working with a young lady for her father who was in a waking coma for a year, paralyzed, and in 6 weeks we got him to be able to move around, almost sit up, communicate a little bit, flexing his hands and feet and so on. And then she just stopped and pulled back, and all right, well, that kind of a power is not being utilized. Go pick it up, take it home with you. And so she'll be going through that process of integration here very shortly, because she just did this last week. There's a couple other places around the world where I have worked that could use tagging, and I'm kind of really going over in my mind who I'd want to send to these places to be able to do that. And so what can happen with this is when a person goes and does this tag and they bring that power back, the first thing is they're dealing with is their own integration on their own physiology and their mentality, spirituality, and they have to just allow that process to happen. It does start to change people, and as it's changing people, it's changing a lot of aspects in their life. It changes their relationship dynamics, relationship with themselves and their partners in life, businesses, and so on, and their local environment. I've never seen these integrations go in a bad way. I've seen it become difficult for people because they resist, but I also tell them, don't resist because it'll hurt, you know. You know, there was one of the domes that I built in Candler, North Carolina, and one of the first times where I actually shared the process that was getting ready to happen, because this was a great project. It was a dome structure that I built for a woman that was working with a lot of single moms, and so it was interesting that the hole for the dome structure was dug by the men, and the construction of it, you know, was basically all female. My daughter was 11, 12 years old then, and 11, and she was working with me, you know, doing construction on these sacred sites around the country. And the other people who did the concrete work were all young mothers and their children. And it was so it was a goddess dome type of thing. But then the owner of that project, Leah, was just like, well, I don't need to be there. I'll just channel the information when I need it, and that kind of a thing, which is completely against the agreement that I said. I said, you need to be here with me through the whole process. And I make that agreement with people, and I say, don't break this, because people want to, and then things don't turn out right. And she did it, like many people do. Fear of power. They start to really feel the power. And these structures have a tendency to make you go through a nervous breakdown as it's readjusting your physiology. And so she did that, and then I had this vision of this young girl coming up, about 18, 19 years old, putting her hands on that dome, and then just taking the power away with her. And then after that dream, I told my daughter Veronica, you know, I said, this is a dream I had. You know, and she's like, oh, and I told the woman, Leah, the owner of the project, this is a dream I had. This is what this means. And so, get out of this sunlight. And then and so in doing that, she said, okay, yeah, whatever, you know, like people do. And then one day, Leah was standing next to me and my daughter, and this girl just walks up the driveway. You know, it was kind of a short country road / driveway, and my daughter went, that's her, I can feel it. I'm like, yep. And then Aunt Leah was just like, uh-oh, and went down to talk to her. Hours later she comes back, no, it's not who you're talking about. She signed up for a 4-year degree at Warren Wilson College. It's not going to happen. You know, you got the wrong person. Okay. You know, a couple days later, my daughter and I woke up really early in the morning, like way pre-dawn, got dressed quietly, just walked out into the forest where we're building this dome. Kind of a hazy, foggy Appalachia kind of morning. And this girl just walks up, you know, was looking around the site, and Veronica and I were just kind of back in the shadows. And she walked up to the dome and looking at it and just put her hand out there and touched it. And you could see, like, she got it. And we're just waiting. And then all of a sudden she turned and looked at us. And like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, we've been expecting you. You know, I told her the dream. I told her all this stuff. And she goes, okay. And that was it, and just walked off. Okay, hours later, Veronica and I were getting up to finishing up the structure itself, you know, closing the project. And Leah comes storming up there. What did you tell her? This girl's named Chelsea. She said, what did you tell Chelsea? I'm like, nothing. Why? She came up to touch the dome early in the morning. She told me that she wants out of the lease of her apartment. She's not going to go to that 4-year degree. She's going to go back to Ohio and work with young single moms. I'm like, perfect. I told you. She goes, yeah, but I can still use the structure, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And Annalea's life project, everything just started to collapse after that. Chelsea tagged it, took it. That's the first time I've actually seen it happen before it happened like that, and got such a great description of it. The property became locked down. She couldn't sell it until a friend of mine from Fort Lauderdale area, many, many years later, went up there and found that structure and said, I want to buy this property. And so she did. So I'm seeing this happen a lot because that consciousness wants to be known, it wants to be shared, and it's open for the people. I'm seeing people's skills, their psychic awareness happen so much, so fast. People going so much farther than they have in a long, long time that I've watched in my shamanic career. And to me, this is all great times. To me, this is all great news to watch, and I'm really happy to see it. So I'm happy for Elisa, for Orchi, for going to these places and picking up these energies, and look forward to the great things that they're going to be doing with it. As I said, I have one other site in particular that I'm really looking forward to sending someone to, and we'll see how that works, and I'll keep you guys updated. Catch you guys later.